And thanks for joining us today for the Tennessee Count the Kicks campaign for doulas. We are excited to bring this information to you. And if you're tuning in and you are not a doula, you're a community health worker, you're a nurse, you're a provider, there is information in this presentation for you. So stay tuned with us. So thanks to the Tennessee Department of Health for sponsoring our campaign. With their support, we have been able to make materials free to your state. So you can order any materials at countthekicks.org, select Tennessee from the map under order materials. Anything that's there will ship to you free. And so we're very thankful for this opportunity that Tennessee Department of Health has provided for us. So my name is Sarah Coleman, and I'm going to be speaking today about our campaign. I'm the state expansion director. I've worked at Healthy Birthday for about 2 years, and I do have experience working as a doula. And so I'm excited to bring this lens with me today. And then on the chat today is Nia Thomas, and Nia Thomas is our health equity and community engagement, manager. So we're thankful for her support today as we provide information. Nia is also a doula, and so we're pleased to have her experience as we are making more materials that are doula-centered audience. So just as a disclaimer, we want to acknowledge that this is a very sensitive topic. We're talking about stillbirth, we're talking about disparities and birth outcomes today. And so if you find yourself feeling like this is something that you want to step away from, we will not be offended. We are recording this presentation and we will send the slides so that they're available for you to view at a different time, and you are free to share that information. Again, we want to get this campaign into the hands of everyone across the state of Tennessee. So thank you for your support. So let's, on the screen, if you can see that there are national stillbirth numbers that we are keeping our eye on. Well, we've had a slight decline in overall stillbirth rates in the United States. We still have our eye on the disparities that are happening. What we don't want is for our work to create disparities. We do not want to have an impact that is happening for one population more than another. So in that regard, we keep our eye on the different races and ethnicities and what's happening in it with those cultures in respect to stillbirth. So as you can see here, there are disparities when we look at Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders and Black pregnancies. In particular, there are definite disparities that exist, as well as Indigenous pregnancies. I didn't mean to leave that one off. So what is the rate in Tennessee? Currently, across all babies born in the state of Tennessee, 536 babies are stillborn every year across Tennessee. And so we're looking to have an impact by increasing the word about fetal movement monitoring. So Count the Kicks is an education campaign that is highly effective and evidence-based. This is an educational campaign, and we feel like we have a winner in the proven early warning system for expectant parents. So we've saved lives across 36 states and 5 countries so far. And just as a background, our campaign started in Iowa over 15 years ago. And what we have seen in the stillbirth rate is that it has declined 30% across the life of our campaign. And also of important note is that in African American pregnancies, we have had a 39% reduction across that culture. So we want to really highlight the work that is going on within our state, and we want to transfer that to the states that we work with. So why should we be doing fetal movement monitoring? What is the purpose? We have several different research studies. I'll highlight all of them point to the same information, the same outcome, but we know that encouraging awareness of fetal movement may be associated with reduced adverse neonatal outcomes and maternal outcomes without an increase in intervention during labor. So some of the research that we have is specific to what has happened here in Iowa, and other research is based on other communities and other states, and also the implementation cycle of Count the Kicks. So we know that the CDC has recognized that fetal movements that slow or stop during labor is an urgent maternal health warning sign. So this is the CDC's Hear Her campaign. This is in conjunction with ACOG, and right here, they list it in the middle of that document that this is a warning sign that needs to be taken seriously and reported immediately. This is baby Mabel, and baby Mabel is here today because her mom, Megan, was monitoring fetal movements. And you'll see this quote in teal that's highlighted here. The only red flag that there was a problem with the pregnancy was my daughter's change in movement. And so over and over, we hear these stories. We hear about babies that have changes in movement. And when their parents are familiar with what their movements are on a daily basis and flag this change for providers, if they notice that change, we have seen better outcomes related to stillbirth. So what should you expect as far as the education cycle? Like, when do we start counting? What are we counting? The recommendation is that you begin counting in the third trimester. That is because an established pattern of movement can be recognized easily by expectant parents. So if someone is pregnant with multiples or they are considered high risk, we want to back that up to 26 weeks because they tend to deliver earlier. So we want to have our eye on baby. And if I don't say it in this presentation, the app can be used to count for twins. So that is definitely a benefit of using our app. Research has also indicated that in this third trimester, this is the critical time to be paying attention to those movements. And so we really want to educate folks what they are looking for. We want them to look for rolls. We want them to look for kicks, jabs. We want them to look for those swishy movements. We want them to look for pushes, anything besides a hiccup. And this is where, as a doula, you can provide some pointed information. If you are sharing with your expectant parents what a hiccup looks like, what it feels like, if you notice it when they are coming in for prenatal appointments or when you're meeting with them, point that out. Hiccups are involuntary movement. They are going to happen regardless of the condition of the baby. That is what an involuntary physical movement will look like. So we are not counting hiccups. So how do you do this? This is a great resource. Again, we're going to share all these resources with you, the slides today. We actually have this in a digital format now. So if you're wanting to share this by text or email, we have an opportunity for you to share this exact language. So here's how you do this. We're going to start in the third trimester for every single baby. Just because you've learned how to do it with previous pregnancies has no impact on you doing it in future pregnancies because those babies are individual. Those pregnancies are individual. So we want to make sure that this is being done every pregnancy, every day at the same time, starting in the third trimester. So monitoring those babies' movements with our free app. You can also use the web counter. We have free paper kick counting charts. These are just some of the opportunities that you can use. We also have our wristbands available in Tennessee, and I am going to talk a little bit about those when we get into the resources available in Tennessee. So we want expectant parents to count at the same time every day. Pick a time when that baby is active. So if the baby is active right after you eat, because of course, why not? Then count then. If the baby is active when you wake up in the morning, then count them. Pick the same time that you can count every day. So time how long it takes for you to get to 10 movements. I'll show you what that looks like in the app. And also rate the strength of movement. So the strength of movement has also been shown to be an indicator of baby's health. And so we want to pay attention to, are they the same strength of movement? Are they faster? Are they slower? We are paying attention to all of that data. So after a few days, you will begin to see an average length of time that it takes to reach 10 movements. And then finally, so we want every day until delivery, we want you to count. Finally, call providers right away if you notice a change in the strength of those movements or how long it takes baby to get to 10 movements. So help your clients understand how important it is to get this information to a provider right away to make these decisions based on your personal data. So again, you can visit our app to download, visit the App Store Apple and Android to download our app. It's completely free. And a benefit is that there are 20 languages available. So I'm going to show a little, I think this is going to start. We're going to, oh, let me go back. We have a video here. Let's see if it goes. I had a little trouble with this earlier today of what this looks like. Looks like it's not going to work. So wanting to flag for you that when someone counts, there is a little foot inside of a circle. Every time the expectant parent feels that foot move, or sorry, feels the baby move, they're going to tap that foot. The circle around the foot will fill in to 10 movements. Above this circle is a timer. Once that timer stops, when somebody hits 10 movements, that timer will stop, and then there will be a graph. There'll be an opportunity to rate the strength of the movement, and then a graph is created from this data. So every day we want to see that graph show that perspective, that longitudinal data is what we're after. And then if someone notices a change in movement, they can show that data to their provider. That is their data. That is about them. That is about their baby. So we can share that data. Another new feature of our app is Ask Anna. So Anna is an AI feature. Anna is, again, free. Anna, if someone has questions about fetal movement, the question can be typed in, and then answers are pulled from 5 vetted, research-based, peer-reviewed articles. So it's not going to Google to find answers about fetal movement. It's actually pulling them from trusted resources. So this is a great feature. This will help fill in those gaps. If a client can't get a hold of you, they can do this Ask Anna to kind of get some information quickly, and then they should discuss that with you and with the provider. So wanting to flag that Ask Anna is a new feature on our app, as is our contraction counter. And also if someone is using paper kick counting charts for part of their tracking during the week, they can actually scan those in, and that will be a part of their personal data. So keeping us moving here, additional resources are available. Find help. So you may be familiar with this if you're working in the community. This is an opportunity to link people up with free and reduced services by zip code in their area. This is associated with our app. We also have a social drivers of health survey that is available on our app, and that information can be linked up if someone flags that they would like to know more about a food pantry in their area or dental care. Then the Find Help can make some recommendations of resources that are close to them. I will note, if you're a doula, please go on and claim your resource. So you can go in and say, hey, I'm a doula in this area. I want to be listed as a free or reduced service in the city of Hendersonville, wherever it is. You can claim your resource and make sure that you are there. So let's talk a little bit about doula specific information. We're going to go through and talk about some of the misconceptions that we hear. So this is one of the biggest parts that you can, as a doula, provide information and reassurance around. So let's go through some of the myths that we hear. My baby is always active, so I don't need to count kicks. This is false, because what we know is that a baby that is always active will have regularity to their pattern. And so when there is a change in that pattern, we want the expectant parents to be able to recognize that change and know that they need to flag their provider about that. Can't tell you how many times in working in OB triage, people would come in and say, I haven't felt my baby move. And when I would ask them, when was the last time you felt your baby move? They would tell me, well, they move all the time. I don't know. I can't tell you that. So having your own personal data in this app to really point to and be able to be specific about the time, we're empowering you with that information about yourself. So this is a really great opportunity to have your own data at your fingertips. So another myth that we hear is that the only people who need to pay attention to kick counting are high risk, and that's not true. Research shows that every baby needs to have their movement monitored. Every baby is unique, and sometimes people aren't a high-risk pregnancy until they're a high-risk pregnancy. So we want to get in front of that with the data. Another myth that we hear is my baby should get 10 kicks in 2 hours. Again, I went to nursing school in the late 90s. I was taught 10 and 2, but that is not the most recent information that we have. Research papers, peer-reviewed articles indicate that we need to work to find out what baby's normal is. And that is done with the expectant parent paying attention to fetal movements. So it may take 7 minutes, it may take 17 minutes, it may take 23 minutes. Whatever it takes, that is normal for your baby. And you will know that, expectant parents will know that if they are monitoring movements. So this is a really important one that we want to make sure that we re-educate folks on. Another one that I frequently hear is drinking something sugary. So my favorite drink is Dr. Pepper. And when I'm tired, when I don't feel good, and I feel like I can't do the normal without something, I drink Dr. Pepper. But that's a false representation of how I feel, right? I might be able to accomplish what I'm trying to do. I might be able to stay awake, but it's not how I truly feel. What we want to know is how baby truly is responding to the stimulus around them. We want to understand what they are experiencing. So this is not good advice. What we see happen is sometimes people will go to the hospital and they will get a sugary drink and then they'll get an NST, right? So they're connected to the provider helping them make that decision. We should not be telling people to use this as an opportunity to increase their baby's movement. We should be asking the people that we work with, the expectant families that we work with, to contact their provider for next steps. Another myth that we hear is that babies kick less near the end of pregnancy. Again, that's not true. Movement may change, but all the way up until delivery, baby may be using some of those same movements in the same pattern. And so just paying attention to that is really important. And then this final one, I can use a Doppler device to monitor baby's well-being. So that's a big, nope, we don't want that. We would like medical professionals to use Dopplers. They know how to interpret that information. The problem is with a home Doppler, it's really easy to pick up not the baby. It's easy to pick up mom. It's easy to pick up the GI system. And so we need to have a clear picture that's provided with a Doppler that provides a strip that someone is interpreting. So we want to definitely get away from this one as well. So how can doulas provide this education? How does Count the Kicks work as a doula? Here are some things that you can do. So provide education during those prenatal movements. As you're introducing your client into the third trimester, share with them opportunities how to do this daily kick counting. Provide them with some resources so that they understand like what's the difference between a hiccup and normal movement. Explaining the Count the Kicks method and sharing resources. Empower them to tune into their baby's movements. Provide this personalized engagement with them. Ask them open-ended questions about how it's going. Don't ask them things that they can say yes or no to. Ask them questions that are specific, like, tell me what time of day your baby kicks the most and how do you feel about that? Like, get to some of that information that helps you determine more things that you need to know about your client or how you can advocate for them. Incorporate this into birth preparation. So thinking about these routine check-ins as you're developing birth plans, how are we going to count all the way to the end where we're at delivery? Like, how are we going to pay attention for that? During all the follow-up meetings, again, open-ended questions about kick counting and offer advice or solutions to problems they're encountering with kick counting. If they found that the time they've picked isn't working, let's have a new plan. Let's back it up and let's start that out. And then serving as a bridge between clients and providers is another way that you can practice and role play conversations about fetal movement. Like if your provider hasn't asked about fetal movement and how that's going for your client, role play with them. How could you bring that up and how could you share that information? We often hear that this is something that alleviates anxiety when people can pay attention to the movements and have ownership over that information. So help them discuss that with their provider. I think that role plays are really, really a critical education tool in helping people understand how they can advocate for themselves. That practice is vital. So thinking about other opportunities that are here is promoting awareness within the doula community. I'm sure if you're a doula, you belong to a collaborative, you belong to professional learning groups. Maybe you're participating in a maternal mental health coalition in your state. Share this information, share this recording, share the slides that we are going to send you. Send brochures, go to your libraries and post the posters, ask for permission, but post our posters and share brochures. That is a way that you can get this out into the community. Invite us to come speak to the collaborative. We love to interact. Naya and I both have had doula training. We love to interact with doulas. Thinking about the unique needs of your client. So as I mentioned, our app is available in over 20 languages and our resources are available in a dozen languages. So making sure for non-English speaking clients that you have the right tools available for them is something that we want to help you provide. Cultural sensitivity, thinking about the conversations with regard to cultural perspectives. Some feedback that we hear is my team that supports me is my mom. My team that supports me is my sisters. My daughter is supporting me. We hear about different teams. We hear about different partners. We hear about community connection. So just making sure that we're thinking about the best way that the folks that we serve can engage with fetal movement monitoring in a culturally sensitive way would be the ideal way to go. And we want to hear those stories. We would like for you to share with us information that can help make a difference in everyone's experience with fetal movement monitoring. So encouraging consistency. Help them know how important it is to do that daily practice. The app can set a reminder for every day. This is the time you picked. It's time to count. The app will not tell you you need to go to the provider. If it's like you haven't counted or a difference has happened in your kick, it will not tell them that. Okay. But they can set a daily reminder so this becomes a part of the routine, and encourage partners who are supporting birthing individuals to support those counting efforts and to increase that connection that's between them. So sign up for our newsletter. We have a brand new resource that is coming. It is the Count the Kicks Doula Guide. It's not done yet. Naya is working very hard on this. But when it launches, you're going to want to know. You're going to want to have this. It is doula facing. It is not parent facing. It is doula facing. And it kind of expands on what we've talked about here today. So sign up for our newsletter. Here are some additional resources. If you go to counttthekicks.org and you select Tennessee, these are some of the resources that will show up for you to order, including our wristbands. And these have been extremely popular. They're available in English or Spanish. And what this is another way to count. This is no technology. If people struggle being able to find reliable Wi-Fi to do their counting, they can use the wristband. The wristband is labeled 1 through 10. That little black slider underneath your thumb and index finger, you move it around. So if you know you count at 12:05 every day, start at 12:05, and every time you feel that movement, move that to the next number. And when you're done with 10 kicks, make a note of that time, write it down on a post-it, whatever it takes, so that you can have knowledge of what your daily movement was for that day. So this is a great tool. They can be shared with people after a pregnancy is completed. So we get that question a lot, like how durable are these? They're durable. And then our digital resource. So again, we'll provide this link to you today so that you have this. If you need to email, if you need to text our information, this is a great opportunity and resource for you. It's those 5 steps, just a little more information and a link to our app. And then finally, follow us on social media. Sign up for that newsletter to get the doula guide. Follow our social media accounts. Retweet that content for parents that you are working with. It's been a pleasure today. Thank you to the Tennessee Department of Health. I'll stay on here for a little bit to answer some questions. Want to make sure that you get all the tools that you need. Make sure that you go back to counttthekicks.org and select Tennessee and grab supplies that you will need to increase the information that you have for expectant parents across the communities of Tennessee. Thank you again for your participation today, and please email if you have any questions. Have a great day.